Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Ojinika.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. Good morning to Dune.
Morning, Oji.
You
How are
look
you?
lovely today.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. Good morning, Rafai. How are you?
Morning, Audrey. I'm just very concerned. Have you done your NIN registration, Audrey?
I tried it, but it didn't work. So I'm going to try it again this afternoon.
Okay. I don't want you to lose your number.
I will not. Good morning,
Morning.
Rafai. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin What's Trending with an update of the abduction of more than 300 students from the government science secondary school Kankara in Katsina State. 6 days after their abduction, the number of missing boys remain unclear. Well, Arise News traveled about 200 kilometers to Ruwan Godiya to speak to the fourth student who has returned so far. Let's take a listen to his ordeal and that of community members.
Some of us were in the hostel and others eating food. Then we heard the first gunshots and then the second gunshots. And we confirmed that the shots were within the school compound. We looked for a way to jump over the nearby fence. Those who were bigger and stronger than us jumped over the fence and left us behind. But I couldn't jump over the fence because it was too high for me. So I returned back to the hostel. I went under the bed. When they came, they started checking from hostel to hostel. When they saw me, they pulled me. They hit me and pushed me with them. One of them stepped on me. Then they all gathered at once and brought others along with them. At the gate of the school, the kidnappers warned that anyone who attempts to run will be shot. Since they took us, I never saw the particular road that was followed, and they kept taking us right into the forest.
They said 200 people came back, but even 100 people we did not see. And 2 days ago, we heard that 17 persons were back, but we only saw 3 persons that came back. One Shehu Garba said only 10 children were kidnapped, but I can tell you that even within my family in Kankara, about 20 children are unaccounted for, and there are several families that I know who do not know the whereabouts of their children.
I cannot imagine what his family members are going through. The young man is 11 years old, and he escaped by telling the bandits that he wanted to use the bathroom. And he slept underneath a tree overnight. And, you know, he woke up and heard the sound of the mosque and went there, and that's how he got rescued. I mean, I can't imagine the torture that he went through. Imagine that they stepped on him. Not only that they kidnapped these boys, they also are torturing our boys.
Yes, they're mistreating them. And I saw a mother being interviewed, and she was talking about what the children are eating in the forest. According to the boys who have come back, they're giving them leaves.
Yes,
I mean,
this young boy said the same thing as well.
It's devastating.
Yes.
There's no other word for it. This is the most distressing thing. I'm horrified by this.
These boys need to be returned home.
Now,
I don't know what is going on. Why are they still there?
The suffering is unimaginable. Can you imagine the fear that he felt?
No child should be subjected to this kind of torture, horror, and exposure to indignity. And that is why it's a matter of urgent national importance that the authorities keep the promise that they are going to adopt every measure to make sure that they are rescued. Earlier on, we talked about Governor Masari of Katsina State assuring us that no child is dead, no child is reportedly ill, but even the trauma that they have been put through alone is enough source for anguish. And the fact that the days continue to count and go by, and many of these children are still there. The governor says, well, about 333 minus 17 are missing so far.
That's 316.
Yes, but again, the young lady that was interviewed has, in fact, given the impression from what she knows directly as a family member of some of the people involved, that government may even be lying to us.
Yes.
She called out Garuba Shehu specifically that in our own family, among within our own immediate community, she knows about 20 persons who are missing. That's more than 10. Okay? And the governor told us 17 boys managed to escape. The young lady says they saw only 3 persons. So I think government also should be careful in how they manage the communication, the information process, because it has taken just one young girl now, to debunk what the governor said, to put the light to what Garuba Shehu said. I mean, government should not use this again to add to existing credibility crisis. But what is important, the bottom line, is that parents, concerned Nigerians, the international community, all, men of goodwill and women of goodwill across the world are saying, look, these children should be rescued. And the longer they stay with those kidnappers, those terrorists, those criminals, the more the situation will look frightening. Imagine feeding these innocent children with leaves.
Rufai, a quick comment from you.
Oji, I'm sad, and I keep saying prayers for those children every day, and I am very sad at what is happening. And they have given us their word, the military. I called for the support for the military yesterday, but the days are going by. And once the days start to go by, you start to think otherwise. But I don't want to think otherwise. I want to be very optimistic. I want to be very hopeful that they will nip it in the bud, that all of this episode will be over. I don't want us to get to a stage where, like Tundo, we'll have to read over 2,000 days and say the boys are not back yet. It's going to be very devastating. Not a great thing to happen at a point in time like this in our national life. So I beg, all hands must be on deck to protect these children.
Yes.
I asked the general yesterday, I said, is there psychosocial support for the parent? He said it's a good idea. Apparently nothing has been done. By now, we should have people that are constantly seeing the parents of those children, talking to them.
And why is there not a number put? I mean, there's still no number.
I don't know what is happening.
How hard is it to find?
We should open that channel.
To calculate the amount of missing boys.
We
know that there are 600 children in the school.
Yeah.
Why is it still a problem?
We should open that channel by now. We should be talking to them because their blood pressure is going to be going up. Some of them might just fall and die. We've seen this happen before in the Dapchi girls. Psychosocial support is very important. I don't know if the Governor Masari, can lead this. This is not a security thing. Get psychologists, talk to them, meet them frequently, reassure them, put hope in their minds again, because the secret of life itself is the power of hope. That psychosocial support is important. And if we don't have good information, it's good that we stop talking.
Right.
Because that lady that particularly mentioned the name of the spokesperson, you can see how hurt she feels. Let's not put out information we don't have out there. I'm talking about government officials most importantly. Now they're beginning to debunk all the information they gave us. They told us 17 escaped yesterday. She said she only saw 3.
Yes.
We don't even know who to believe any longer. And you see, this alienation between government and the people is as a result of misinformation. Some people will come out and say, oh, apparently they're trying to mitigate the situation. It's best we don't talk at this point. It's best we don't put out any information that might inflame these people. It's best we just understand what they're going through and help them go through it. And most importantly, it's best we bring back our boys.
All right. Let's take another story. We'll head over to the US now, where Cameroonian doctor Stella Emmanuel has yet again stirred up another controversy about COVID-19. This time, the doctor is spreading unfounded fears about the COVID vaccine. In a new video circulating on social media, the doctor claims that the new vaccine made by pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, Moderna, and others, are made to depopulate the world, as well as inoculate demonic strain into humans. Let's take a listen.
From day one, that this thing is diabolic. This is not even about COVID. COVID is completely treatable. COVID is completely preventable. This whole thing is about setting us up for vaccine. And of course, I've also been kind of mentioning vaccine. There are 2 companies doing vaccines right now that are in the front line right now, and they're talking about the luciferase protein that they're going to put under your skin, under the skin of your right hand, to be able to illuminate and be able to read whether you've been vaccinated or not. I don't know why they should call it luciferase. Of course, it is the name of the beast. I tell everybody, read Revelation 13 from verse 12 to about maybe 16. Read Daniel chapter 2 from like verse 40 to about 45, 46. read these scriptures and realize that we're in a really, really bad times. Somebody called me today, said Dr. Stella is getting crazier. They are bribing pastors, over $30,000. They are giving pastors to encourage their members to take this vaccine. A lot of you are going to take the vaccine because you want to work. A lot of you will take it because you want to go to school. You want your children to go to daycare. You just want life to come back to normal. But your life is not going to come back to normal. You're going to come back as a chimera. You're going to come back as whatever it is that they're putting in that and whatever it is that you are. I'm telling you, this whole pandemic, the whole idea, from day one, it was a lie. From day one, they allow hundreds of thousands of people to die to prepare you for vaccine and control. From day one, they allow hundreds of thousands of people to die to make sure that they can depopulate you. If you go, there's a TED talk that was done by Bill Gates that talk about population control. Right now, the vaccine that they've tried is actually sterilizing black women. COVID is actually sterilizing black men. And you people are not listening.
If you remember Stella Emmanuel, she was among the frontline workers who went viral in July when they were preaching the effectiveness of hydroxychloroquine in the fight against COVID-19. And now this. You know, she's also those frontline workers this weekend. They went to Atlanta to protest these vaccines as well. And now this. She talked about the fact, you remember, she talked about the fact of some medical ailment caused by dream sex or something like that, and the DNA, alien DNA used for treatment. And I mean, I don't understand why she's continuing to set up these controversies. It's really uncalled for.
I don't understand how you can ask whether I remember her or not.
Yes.
I could never forget such a person, quite frankly. She lost me during her rant in July when she said there's no need to wear a mask. She actually opened her mouth and said that. And yes, you're right. She's the person who said having sex with demons causes cysts and endometriosis. People that have those ailments would beg to differ. They will probably attest that they did not have sex with demons. So it just makes you take whatever she says with a huge sack of salt. And that fear-mongering about Luciferian, the word Lucifer, yes, is the devil in the Bible, but Lucifer, before he fell, before the fall of the devil, due to his pride.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. The word only refers to light, to radiance, because that was what he was. He was the morning star, he was called. So I have no idea what she's talking about.
But she's also a pastor. How could she not know that, Dr.
Well, she needs a dictionary.
Well, you know, I know news is news. If it's news, then we treat it. But maybe there are certain circumstances when certain things are better ignored.
I think so.
I think Stella Emmanuel is somebody that we should conveniently ignore, because on COVID-19, she has been consistently wrong. However, please note, in terms of context, that she's one of President Trump's favorite COVID doctors.
Yes.
President Trump will not listen to Anthony Fauci, but he will rather listen to persons like Dr. Stella Emmanuel, who are promoting conspiracy theories. Now, I say she's been consistently wrong. You recall that she and others were promoting hydroxychloroquine as prophylaxis. And she echoed that here again. She's still insisting on that. But the World Health Organization, after subjecting hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine to clinical trials, came up and said, look, it was of no beneficial effect where COVID-19 was involved. And that was why, I guess also in Nigeria, when it was double-checked, you know, it was taken out of the clinical trial phase. Second, we must also note that she's an evangelical Christian. She runs a church called Firepower Ministries. And she continues to insist that she's a woman of science. She's also at the same time a woman of the spirit. But for me, I don't know where she draws the line, because on one hand, she says she's talking science. On the other hand, she's promoting superstition.
There's no line, she says. It goes together,
so
hand in hand.
she's promoting superstition, and she's quoting the Bible. And so I would just say to people, well, you can follow her at your own risk. She's made a lot of predictions. She predicted that President Trump would win the election, and she was very convinced about it. Well, she's been proven wrong. So that her spirit doesn't quite see the truth. And I think in this particular case also, this woman of spirit has missed the point. She's talking about an attempt to depopulate the world, how they are going to put Lucifer into your skin and all of that. I mean, these harebrained ideas, you know, that we condemned much earlier in the day, and we warned about all these spiritual mothers and fathers who are not following the science, who are talking about conspiracy. You know, she referred to what's his name now?
Bill Gates. Is it Bill Gates? Yes, TED Talk by Bill Gates, yes.
Bill Gates. And you know there has been that controversy against the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And that's just what she repeated. She says the vaccines have been put out there just to, you know, distort people's DNA. That has not been proven. In all the scientific reports are peer-reviewed vaccines that are out there. So our intervention takes us back, and I think she should be ignored. And I think she should not be given further publicity because she may well end up, you know, misleading persons like her who believe that the spirit is superior to the science.
But Dr. Batish is not the only one. It's a group of the frontline workers. It's not just her. There were about 6, 7 of them.
Yes, there were.
One is led by Simone Gold, I believe. Simone Gold, Dr. Simone Gold.
They were claiming, but all of them were a lot more controlled in their delivery. Her delivery was completely demented, I'm sorry. And then none of them said anything about don't wear a mask. She's the only one who went that far. And to add, they were all talking about hydroxychloroquine. I searched and searched when Donald Trump was diagnosed with COVID-19, when his treatment regime was made public, nowhere was there hydroxychloroquine. So much for their cure. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Rufai, a quick comment from you. Are you going to take the COVID vaccine?
I mean, what can I say? I mean, if it's good and I see good peer review, I'll take it. After the boss of Pfizer takes it first, then I'll come after him. I'm being cheeky, but it's true. Because Big Pharma too have their own wahala. We don't want to go into that. But quickly, let me address this woman's matter. Dr. Abati, for your knowledge, she's a Malabite too.
I know.
So we can say, can we call her Great Malabreast?
Well, no, I don't.
I think she has potential. Right now, she's lost it a little bit, but she has potential.
But on the contrary, too, the other guy that worked on the Pfizer team too was a Malabite, you know. So
that's the Great Malabite.
Dr.
Ogwagu.
Dr. Ogwagu. But what we have to say here is, and I'm happy that we have sort of used the key words: conspiracy theories, evangelical move, I don't want to call it republicanism, I'll call it Trumpism. And all of this is geared towards something. It's a big picture. So it's a fight of forces. I mean, I think it was Henry Kissinger that talked about this in his book, In the World Order. So it's a fight of forces. There are some people in one school of thought that feels everything is a conspiracy against Trump and his government, and they've been able to pull his government down. In fact, if you watch, I've made it a favorite pastime to be watching Newsmax, a news channel in America. Newsmax will take people like this on because they still believe they can overturn the election. And there's the other point where there's science, there's a liberal thought to it and everything. So it's a collusion of forces and thoughts, and most important thing. But you will know where to strike the balance. You will know where the voice of discontent and the voice that is not true that wants to sway people is. And people like Stella Emmanuel will lie and say they have the knowledge of science and say some ideas they bring up together trumps science. So when they start to discountenance science, this is the first trade they'll do. 2, they are good speakers. They will talk in such a way to convince you. You can see her talking, pray, quoting all sorts of false science to convince people when they want to lie. That's what they do. 3, they will blame the institution. Like she's gone ahead. Oh, it's against you. They want to give you the mark of the beast and everything. They said the same about AIDS, if you remember.
Well, quite true.
So
we know where they are coming from. But we know these people.
Just don't get people killed. That's all I ask. With your silly rhetoric, don't kill people.
On that note,
thank you, guys.
We've got to go.
We'll see you tomorrow.